This is Gilbert Andrew Garcia of A Tip from Gilbert, talk, inspiration, and prayer. Listen to my show every Monday from 11 to 12 on KWWJ 1360 AM, KYOK 1140 AM, KCOH at 1230 KCOH.com, Sankeet Radio at 95.1 FM, 1460 AM, and Latino Sports, KEYH 850 AM. Call in at 832-570-8075 and follow me on social media. See you then. All right, Houston and Harris County, this is Gilbert Garcia with another tip for me. Talk, inspiration, and prayer. Thank you, studio audience. And boy, as Ed Sullivan would say, we have a really big show. We have a really big show. And that is because we have Congressman Al Green with us again. Congressman, thank you for being here.
It's an honor to be with you, and I consider it a preeminent privilege as well as a superlative pleasure.
Well, there you go, my friend. You know, we're going to talk a lot about the race.
Thank you.
And we're going to talk about what's interesting is, and I'd like to think I'm, I don't know, informed or educated, all those things, but I really am just a regular Gilbert. You know, they say a regular Joe. I'm a regular Gilbert. And you know what? Even I was not aware of all the things you have done, all the bills you have signed, all the laws you have passed, all the earmarks, all the real money you have brought into the district. I just didn't know. And I think it's great.
Well, thank you very much. And I do appreciate you allowing me to explain because
please,
much of what we do never gets publicized.
Mm-hmm.
We send out press releases, but they don't always get codified into the public sphere. So you have to do these things when you have these opportunities such as this. And I'm proud to tell you that I have sponsored 3 federal judges, 3, Al Bennett, George Hanks, and Greg Costa. These federal judges were great judges. 2 of them are still there. Greg Costa went on to the 5th Circuit. And we also have sponsored bills that have netted a lot of money. I've given you a document that shows.
I'm just flabbergasted at all this stuff, and I didn't know all this money. Well, if you add it all up, all I see is a lot of money coming to the district that you championed.
$10 billion for small businesses. You'll see that on there. Now, for those who don't know, $10 billion. That's $10,000 million.
Yeah, that's 10 with a B.
Yeah,
10 billion.
$10,000 million. And then for small businesses by and through the MDIs, Minority Depository Institutions, another $9 billion. So that would be $9,000 million. $100 million for flood control across the city. Money for the port, money for the airports, the hospital district. We have been effective in Congress, and that's why you have to ask yourself, do you want the person who's most prepared to continue to do the work that's being done? Now, I have to share this with you quickly.
Please.
There's this campaign that started about my death. It is true that I have celebrated my 19th birthday 4 times. I'm now into my 19th. But this is immoral to have a death campaign. You know, Mickey Leland was in his 40s when he passed, and he was a dear friend of mine. No one knows for whom the bell will toll next. And to somehow imply that if you elect me, I might die in office. Well, anybody might die in office. This is an ungodly, immoral campaign.
Well, I'm not aware of that, but you know what?
Oh, yes,
hearing that.
It was started with the Houston Chronicle.
Just hearing that gives me the frights, because we all, you know, every day is a gift from God. We all wake up and we are grateful, and we don't know when that time's going to come.
We do not. And people have made a big to-do about my cane. I don't need the cane for ambulatory purposes to help me maneuver. That's not why I have it. Gilbert, I have $20,000 a month for my security. There are people who say they're going to kill me. And if enough people tell you they're going to kill you, at some point you have to believe them. I have police officers that escort me around, but I also know that there are times when I won't have the police officer. And at that time, this becomes my rod and my staff that comforts me in the presence of my enemies. Sometimes I may need a little help, so I carry my cane with me. So all of this is a fiction that has been concocted to give the impression that somehow I am not a person capable of doing the job that I have been doing quite well and continue to do quite well. My voting record is 98%. I'm the guy who left the hospital after surgery to make sure I was there to cast the deciding vote.
I remember
Yes,
that. I
as it
remember
relates
that.
to the impeachment of the head of Homeland Security. So I have a good record. So there's not a lot to complain about, except that I might die. Well, anyone might die.
Well, you know what? We're going to talk more about that. I'm going to ask you to just do a quick pivot, because these are very difficult times. And I'm not talking about the race, and we're going to talk about the race. I'm talking about just in this country. It seems that every time we wake up, there's another, surprise or a conflict or something. There's another death. Every time we turn around, there's some other, killing somewhere. And when you think about kids in school that go through these drills in case there's a shooter, I mean, what are we teaching our kids these days? And, you see the war in Iran, you see the war in Ukraine, essentially the war in Lebanon. If you don't mind putting on your preacher hat for a moment and giving us a prayer, and I don't know the right phrase, but just a prayer for peace, or somehow to get, just sort of stop the madness. Can you please do that for us?
Sure. If those who would like to join me in a prayer, I'll be honored to have you do so. Those who choose not to, I respect your right not to. So here's my prayer.
Amen.
Most gracious Creator, we know you by many names, but we also know that by any name you are the Creator of all that was, is, and ever shall be. And we who have assembled this morning as friends, we who have assembled as believers, we thank you for your love, your grace, and the gift of life. We thank you for your mercies and your forgiveness throughout life. We thank you for your angels to protect life and your creation to sustain life, your air, the breath of life, your water, the elixir of life, your star that we know as sun, the light and warmth of life, your terra firma that we call earth, the foundation and home of life. And we pray this morning that as we move forward, we will have the courage and the good sense to realize that war is not the answer, that war only brings about hate, and hate never solves problems. We want to ask that you would help us to understand that even as we negotiate with Iran, that we have to understand that there are people in that country, and many of them have lost their lives as we have dropped our bombs. We want no innocent lives to be taken regardless as to where they are, and that includes Gaza, where millions of people, hundreds of thousands of people have suffered, and thousands have lost their lives. We want you to understand, as we understand and believe, and hope that you would help us to understand better, that as we move forward, we have a duty, a responsibility, and an obligation to try to negotiate our way out of our problems as opposed to kill our way out of our problems. We want you to understand that there are some people who believe that we should have peace through strength, as opposed to peace with strength. And here's the difference. Peace through strength allows the Secretary of Defense to say we negotiate with bombs. But peace with strength means that you have your strength, but you also negotiate. Help us to understand that negotiation is a part of the peace process, that bombing and killing is not the only way. And then when we get to Congress, help us to look across the aisle and see each other as decent persons who want to bring about peace. And if we can all assemble and bring peace, then we will make the world a better place, not only for those of us in the United States of America, but across the globe. And I beg that you always remind me that the United States has the ability to police the world, but the ultimate question that the United States of America has to answer is, do we have the ability to bring peace to the world? That is our mission. That is our challenge. We thank you for your love, your grace, and the gift of life.
Congressman, thank you for that wonderful prayer. You know, there's a song, I forgot who it's by, but it says, war, what is good for absolutely nothing. I don't know who that song's by. I don't know if it's Bruce Springsteen or something, but at the end of the day, it's good for absolutely nothing. And I know we have a lot of people who are going to be calling in today. We got a lot of activity. And I have a surprise for you. I have a clip from your debate that you had with Christian Menifee. And, of course, I've had Christian Menifee on my show a couple of times back when he was county attorney and then when he was a candidate. Of course, I've had Amanda Edwards. I've had all candidates. I'm trying to be open and a good steward of information for the public. And I just thought that clip was so strong that I'm going to play it in just a minute. But I want to go back to your days as NAACP, your days in the NAACP, because now all the work that you and so many people did all these years, it's going backwards now. And all of a sudden, not only is the federal government trying to undo many of the advances that we did in voting and everything else, civil rights, but also the courts. How does that make you feel when you think of all the work that you did and you're seeing this happen?
Well, let me start with saying that I think that Mr. Menifee is a nice guy, and I don't want anything said today to in any way demean my thought that I think he's a nice person. I do think that there are differences, and we have to exhibit those differences. Now, with reference to how do I feel, we are currently having to hold back the rollback. And that rollback involves not only accomplishments that were made by African Americans, but also Latinos. Latinos filed a good many of the lawsuits that went before the Supreme Court to help us with voting rights. So we should not assume, and I don't think you do, that this has been an effort that has been engaged in by just one segment of society. Asian Americans also have made great contributions. But here's where we are. With the Supreme Court in its latest decision in Calais versus Louisiana, or Louisiana versus Calais, this decision is one that strips Section 2 of the voting rights to nearly a non-existence. It allows now, under the guise of perpetrating, if you will, partisan politics, it allows one to do this under the guise of perpetrating partisan politics, and that is to engage in invidious discrimination, which is racism. So if you want to commit a racist act, you but only have to say, when you're drawing the lines, when you're gerrymandering, you but only have to say, I'm doing this for political purposes. We'll hear what your head says, but we can never know what was in your heart unless you confess. That is literally where we are. And by the way, that's where we were before the Edmund Pettus Bridge in 1965, when John Lewis and a host of others were beaten all the way back to the church where they started, Brown Chapel Church. So as a result of being taken back to 1965, we now have to ask ourselves, are the tactics that we are to use going to be the tactics of trying to negotiate only? I think not. Are they going to be the tactics of litigation only? I think not. I think we have to engage in litigation, negotiation, and protestation. It is protestation that won a good many of the cases that were filed in court, because people could see that the mood of the country had changed. And when the mood of the country changes, people in courts are influenced by that. If we sit idly by and assume that we're going to litigate our way out of this and negotiate our way out of it, we make a mistake. We are going to have to peacefully protest. I'm not anybody that commits violence. I oppose you and your violence. But peaceful protest is the methodology by which we've been able to get here. And John Lewis told me that he thought he was going to die on that bridge. The Voting Rights Act of 1965, although it was signed in ink, it was written in blood. The blood of the people at the Edmund Pettus Bridge, the blood of Schroeder, Goodman, and Cheney, the blood of people who was but only trying to get the right to vote for people in this country. This is why we must vote. We must, in spite of all the obstacles, we've got to register and vote. Voting will help us to pass the Freedom to Vote Act, which will restore a lot of things that can make a difference in our lives in terms of voting. It will help us to pass the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act, which is absolutely necessary so that we can bring back much of what has been stripped away from Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act. These two pieces of legislation are of paramount importance, and we have to vote. If we have to get a passport, if we've got to get a birth certificate, we just got to find a way to do it. I know that these are impediments. I understand that the reason these have been imposed upon you and me is because there's a desire to suppress the vote. But we cannot let that desire prevent us from getting a majority of people in the House of Representatives, a majority of people in the Senate, so that we can change what has been imposed upon us, so that we can then roll back what they have imposed upon us in a harmful way. I support voting strongly. I support protestation. Let's do it together. That would be blacks, browns, Asian Americans. We've worked together in the past. We've got to continue to do so in a very forceful and respectful and lawful way. No violence.
Let's go back to CD 18
Yes.
in the race. You know, what's interesting is, we've been talking about that race, it seems, for 2 years. I mean, we've been talking, there's been, I don't even know how many elections now we've had for that position, 3, 4, 5. I mean, I think a lot of the people are just plain old-fashioned exhausted because they cannot figure it out. And I guess that's really what this whole gerrymandering is all about, which is you're putting two good candidates for no other reason than political reasons, running against each other to really dilute the representation of the African American community and progressives in Congress. That's really what's happening here, right?
Yes, and I would just add,
please,
however,
please.
let me add this, and the Latino community
That's
as
right.
well.
Please.
The new 18 has a sizable number of Latinos, it has Asians in it, and it has a sizable number of African Americans in it. So the person representing the new 18 is going to be a person who has to represent truly all of the people. Now, it's important to know this. There are two 18th congressional districts. One is the old 18th congressional district. That district is the one that was represented by Barbara Jordan, Mickey Leland, Craig Washington, and as of late, Sylvester Turner. And of course, everybody knows the name of the person who represented it for many years, Sheila Jackson Lee. That 18th is no longer going to exist after January of next year. The new 18th doesn't have anyone representing it. But here is what you need to know. The new 18th is more District 9, the District 9 that I currently represent. The people in it are more from District 9 than from the old 18th. More than 2/3 of the people in this district are from District 9. If they were going to number the district, and by the way, they can number them any number that they want. They could have put the number 15 on it, but they chose 18 so that they could create the confusion. But if they were doing it based upon the representation of people from a given congressional district, it would be 9. But the governor, working with the president, wants to make sure that I never get elected again. And that's because I'm the guy who has put the president on the spot on numerous occasions. I not only speak truth to power, I confront power. I confronted the president
Amen.
at the joint session of Congress. I confronted him at the State of the Union. And when you confront power, power wants to do something to prevent you from doing that. Well, the one thing that they can do is draw me out of existence. This race is about getting rid of Al Green in Congress because Al Green is the voice of the people. I'm not the Houston Chronicles congressperson. I'm not the Partnerships Chronicle persons. Great people, all of them. I represent the people. I stand for the people. I stand with the people. I fight for the people. And they want this voice for the people to be silenced in the Congress of the United States of America. But I believe the people will see through the millions of dollars that the crypto industry has spent. They've already spent more than $5 million on the race, and they plan to spend another $5 million in the race. I've got a news article in my pocket from the New York Times wherein they indicate that they're going to spend this inordinate amount of money to get me out of office, and it's dated, the news article that I have here
I see
is
it.
dated,
Yep.
yeah, it's dated February the 12th, 2026. And here is a line from the article that you would probably be interested in. It reads, Representative Al Green, an 11-term Democrat from Houston, whose district was upended by redistricting, is being challenged by a crypto-backed super PAC in its first major negative, emphasis on negative, major negative advertising campaign of the midterm cycle. The super PAC, which is a part of the industry's main political organization, Fairshake, said it will spend $1.5 million to try to defeat Mr. Green in the Democratic primary race next month. I submitted for evidence. The super PAC is now, in concert with other super PACs, they're going to spend $5 to $10 million more. You will see more money spent in this congressional race than in any congressional race ever in this area. probably could go as high as $20 million. You can see the TV ads. This is all about getting the guy out who has said that if you're going to have meme coins, which are nothing, they are nothing. If you buy a meme coin, you've just bought nothing. You're betting that somebody else will buy at a higher price than you, and that then at some point you can sell and leave that person who bought at the higher price holding the bag. The president is engaging in the business of producing meme coins, and his wife. I don't think that the president, I don't think that members of the cabinet, I don't think that members of Congress should be able to produce these meme coins, because we have the ability to know things that the public doesn't know. And in the case of the president, you can pump it up, dump, and then you take the money, leave others holding the bag. I have opposed this, and the crypto industry is not appreciative of my position when it comes to the meme coins. Also, the meme coins aside, the notion that you can transfer large sums of money, any amount, literally, from one person to another without going through some sort of central bank or location or entity, do that allows people to evade taxes. It's all right to avoid taxes. It's illegal to evade taxes. So you can evade taxes. I've been briefed on this by CRS. This tax evasion is something that I'm concerned about. So I say we've got to have a means of preventing people who are already billionaires, and these are the people who want to do this, already billionaires. You want to avoid paying your fair share of taxes. Well, I'm opposed to that. And I'm also opposed to any legislation that's going to allow the crypto money to replace the American dollar, because the American dollar is the reserved currency of choice across the globe, meaning other countries, they want to keep dollars in reserve. And they want to keep dollars in reserve because we have maintained it as a currency that you can depend on and you can count on. Well, if we allow cryptocurrency to replace the dollar, then we're going to pay higher interest rates. It's going to hurt our ability to impose sanctions. These are some of the things that I know and that I fight to protect the American people from. And the crypto industry is not enthralled with me as a result. They want me out because I fight for you. And I'm going to continue to fight for you as long as I'm in the Congress of the United States of America. I have no fear of the crypto industry. Yes, I know that people can hurt you. Yes, I have the threats. But Dr. King reminds us that any man who hasn't found something worth dying for, not fit to live. I want to be fit to live. I'm going to protect your rights.
You know, I'm ready to take the hill. I don't know about you guys, but I'm ready. I mean, let's go. I'm taking that hill. Holy cow. And you know what? And that's why we have the cane. I'm telling you, that's exactly why. We have a caller, and then you can be getting your thoughts together, because I want to just go through. You know, I have some experience with my partner was Henry Cisneros at one time. He went to the cabinet, et cetera. And there seems to be all this owner, and people don't know, I never really told anyone, but I was interviewed to be the CFO of Homeland Security. And I think that, you know, I probably had a good chance to get that. But at the end of the day, I pulled out because it's just so onerous to serve with the Office of Government Ethics and all the things. I just want to know, get this idea going, because I want to go for a quick question. But how can the president do these things when it just seems that you shouldn't be allowed to do these things? And it's not about Trump, and everybody knows I'm a Democrat, but whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, it just seems you shouldn't be able to be doing work for a private entity or anything of that nature while you're serving. So start getting your thoughts together, because we have a caller already. Is there a Ron Reynolds on the line? Ron Reynolds, are you there? Can you hear me, Ron? We can't hear Ron, though, Mr. Producer. Hold on there, Ron. I'm having a technical difficulty, as they say. Give me 1 second. Can you hear me there, okay. Ron?
I can hear you.
Represent, I hear you now. Guess who I have on? See, you are like Robin, and this is Batman. I have Batman here. I have Al Green here. And so, you know what, Representative, you know, you and I, you've called in many times. You've been on the show. You've been my guest host when I was traveling. You know, we have Al Green here, and of course he's in a race, et cetera. We're going to talk about the race. But I'd like to get your view together with Al Green. When you think about what's going on in Iran, And I had gotten some articles, they're here, where the estimate is that we've now spent about $50 billion on this war.
Wow.
And yeah, that's a B. That's a B. And, you know, you have some people thinking it may be $1 trillion before it's all over. And of course, the president now is putting forth a budget that's going to have a major increase on defense spending, almost $1.5 billion, $1.6 billion in trillion. I'm sorry, 1.6 trillion, I believe, is what he's putting forth. At the end of the day, Representative Reynolds, and then we'll get Al Green's view, is it just seems to me, if you looked at the amount of money being spent and you said, I want to put that into transportation, or I want to put that in prenatal care, or preschool for all public, kids. I mean, you could do so much to help people in this community and reinvest in the community that will have an incredible return on the investment, rather than making more bombs, which we all know has really very little to no return on the investment. What do you think the state of Texas could do with that type of money?
Gilbert, first of all, good morning. It's great to be on with you and my mentor, Congressman Al Green. The state of Texas could do a whole lot, because guess what, Gilbert? Transportation funding has been cut. Texas is the fastest growing state in the country. There's so many needs for infrastructure improvements in areas of around Harris and Fort Bend alone in this region, with all the mobility challenges and traffic congestion and flooding. There could be major investments in infrastructure that could bring thousands and thousands of jobs and economic development to Texas and the Houston region. So that alone could change. And then they say, oh, we have budget challenges. That's why we're cutting funding to education. And we're putting more money into privatization and vouchers, which only helps the rich. So this money could be reinvested to help poor and working class families. We haven't even talked about raising the minimum wage from $7.25, like Congressman Green has a proposal to raise it. There's so many things that we could do, Gilbert, but we're focused on funding a war that was unnecessary to begin with. We're funding, helping billionaires become richer, and the crypto cronies that are investing so much money because they could make more money, people allies of Trump and Elon Musk, while everyday Texans are hurting at the pump, at the grocery store, having trouble making ends meet when rent and housing keeps going up, that people can't afford to stay in home. So yeah, Gilbert, this war is only helping the people who invest in war and arms, while working families continue to suffer.
Well, you know what? I want to put something in perspective, and then I'm going to turn it over to Representative Al Green here to just put it in perspective for both of us and everyone here in Houston and Harris County. First of all, when you think about $50 billion, are you ready for this statement?
Yes.
I'm going to read something that my team put together. $50 billion is comparable to the entire federal government contribution to K through 12 education during the pre-pandemic years. All of it. Here's another one. I was just trying to say, what does $50 billion do? In 2022, the total federal spending on highways was $52 billion. Total. When you think about it, this amount of money is staggering. And we just throw money around sometimes, a little bit here, a little bit there. But really, it's about lives. It's about making things better. And I want to go back to what you just said about the minimum wage, because I know that's something high on Representative Green's list. I went to the airport the other day because I travel, and I was with one of my partners, and we went to, and I won't give the name, unless, of course, people really twist my arm, but we went to a burger place, and it's one of those, big, burger, well-known burger places, right? And we got 2 burgers, 2 fries, I got a lemonade, and she got a coffee, and it was about $42. So think about that. So just the 2 of us, and that wasn't a sit-down dinner or anything. That was just in a box. And that's essentially about 6 hours worth of work. When you think about the minimum wage, there's something wrong if it takes, 6 hours for people to buy a small, quick burger for 2 people, 6 hours of work. That doesn't make any sense to me. What do you say there, Mr. Green?
Well, I absolutely agree with you.
There you go. Go.
I absolutely agree with you. I have the Law Act, the original Law Act, the original Living American Wage Act, which would raise the minimum wage to more than $25 an hour and index it, mean tie it to poverty in such a way such that when the poverty level goes up, the minimum wage goes up, and we don't find ourselves now going years upon years with a $7.25 an hour wage, which is what it is currently. We can do this, but only have to have the will. And we have to do this because $7.25 an hour is what I call nouveau slave wages. That's the newest edition of slave wages. No family can live off of $7.25 an hour. When I worked with the SEIU union here in Houston with the janitors, we were trying to get the wages raised for them. And they told me stories of how they have to have multiple families living together. They have to have multiple jobs, sometimes as many as 3 jobs, just to maintain a living. Well, in the richest country in the world, where one man can make $1 billion in 1 year, if one man can make $1 billion in 1 year, surely we can pay people $25 an hour. This can be done. But here's something else that money can be utilized for. It can be used to help us with those subsidies that expired at the end of last year with reference to Obamacare. Those subsidies are hurting us because we don't have them for the premiums. People cannot pay the premium so that they can have the insurance. Case in point, Mr. Bonner, who came to my office in need of money to help him with his premium so that he could get a double lung transplant. Mr. Bonner could not afford the premiums because they went up in January, and it was beyond what he could pay. He's on a fixed income. So we helped him to get the money for the premiums. He got the double lung transplant, and he's doing well. But now Mr. Bonner has medication that he has to take that he must take daily, and he must take it at a specific time. You cannot dilly-dally. You have to do it as required. Well, now he needs more help because, again, not enough money to continue to cover the medications. So that money could be used to help us with those subsidies. It could be used to help us reduce the cost of prescription drugs. And by the way, the state of Texas was offered $100 billion. $100 billion for Medicaid. And the state of Texas, which has the highest rate of uninsured people in the country, declined $100 billion for Medicaid. The state of Texas. We could use that money to help us with Medicaid. Medicaid, by the way, is not, as people assume, just for poor people. Medicaid would be for all of us if we live long enough because it is where your long-term hospital care kicks in. It's through Medicaid. So we've got to protect Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security. Those are great things to protect, but we also have to make sure that we have those premiums such that people can afford them when they do have some sort of health insurance. That is very important. And even with Obamacare, there are certain premiums depending on what you're making, and we have now allowed those to expire. So yes, the Representative Reynolds is absolutely on point in terms of the many things that we can do to help people. I believe that we've got to help with the grocery prices. That's why we're raising the minimum wage. But I also know that those oil prices have got to come down. And for those oil prices to come down, we're going to have to end this war, this unnecessary war, as you have indicated, Gilbert. We've got to end this war because it wasn't a necessary war. I went to the classified for members only briefing. Classified. Only members could attend. And if I tell you what was said there, I could be kicked out of Congress. But I can tell you who was there. Secretary of Defense was there. General Kane was there. We had the people who were to know, Secretary of State, to know whether this war was started with a righteous cause or whether it was a war of choice. I can tell you this, I left there knowing that Iran was not an imminent threat to the United States, and as a result of it not being an imminent threat, there was not reason for us to go to war. This is Mr. Netanyahu's war, and he has imposed it on us by and through our president, President Trump. This classified briefing was something that members attended because we had to. I was there. My opponent was in Houston, Texas. He did not attend the members-only classified briefing. And when I said that he was in Houston partying, he was at his campaign watch party. I knew that the classified briefing was more important than being in Houston for my campaign watch party. I went to Washington, D.C. I got the briefing. I can speak with authority about what's happening. So we need to end this war. It should never have begun. And since it has, end it so that we can now bring the gas prices down. If we don't end this war and bring the gas prices down, gas is going to go to $5 a gallon. When it goes to $5 a gallon, more people are going to suffer. The suffering doesn't end because you engage in war. The suffering begins when you engage in war. And this president is going to have to answer for what he has done. I promise you he will have to answer if I'm in Congress, because I'm the guy who's not afraid to file articles of impeachment against him. I've done it before, and I'll do it again to protect you and your rights and these high prices. He needs to know, and the people who might follow him should know, that there are some among us who will take you on and make sure that others understand that his behavior is unacceptable, therefore you should not engage in the behavior. I promise you, if I'm in Congress, I'll bring those articles of impeachment, and we do need to get these prices down. And I'm doing everything that I can, including signing on to a bill that Ro Khanna has introduced to make billionaires pay their fair share. He says if we impose about a 5% tax on billionaires, people who are making billions, we can raise around $1 trillion over a 10-year period. And that money can be used to help teachers have higher pay. That money can be used to help us with daycare. That money can be used to help us with the insurance issues that we have. There is a means and a methodology by which we can do this. We just have to have the will to do it. Right now, the president controls the Republican Party. As a result of controlling the Republican Party, the Republicans are afraid to act. They're afraid to do the things that will protect the American people. Well, I'm not afraid to act. We're going to bring these things before the public, bring it to the attention of the Congress so that we can give the American people lower prices, better housing with a bill that Maxine Waters has sponsored, and I'm a co-sponsor with her, that would allow persons who are first-time home buyers to get a $20,000 down payment assistance help. This can be done.
Hold on right there, Congressman, because I want to go back to something, if you don't mind. No. All I heard is, ready for this? You're ready to fight.
Absolutely.
And I'm gonna show you a clip in just a minute. Producer, get it ready. Don't do it just yet. But I'm gonna show this. And Representative Reynolds, I want to tie the loop real quick, and I'm gonna show a clip from the debate that I'm gonna surprise Congressman Green here, because I thought it was a very interesting moment. But I want to go back to this whole minimum wage, because I want to put things in perspective. We got to put things in perspective, Congressman, as you always know. When you think about the minimum wage, I went to the movies. I went to see Michael, which is a great movie. I went to see Michael, and I took my wife. Are you ready for this? It would have taken us 2 hours of work to pay to go to the movies. The movies now are $17 to go to the movies. That's per person. Mm-hmm. So think about that. I mean, that's just unbelievable. And I want to give you another thing. I've been blessed. I gave my mother, who's 85, Mom, if you're listening, I love you, Mom. Happy Mother's Day for all the mothers out there. I love you, Mom. She's 85, and I gave her my car. And so now I have my daughter's car, and it's a smaller car, and she's at U Chicago. She's first year. And I've been traveling for a couple of days, and I was stunned because I filled up the car today, and it's not a big tank. It's all of 13, 14 gallons, $55 to fill up our tank. And I'm not going to tell you the name of this station, only because I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. At the end of the day, it was, you said almost $5. It's almost there now. It was about I'm trying to think, and this is the low unleaded. This isn't like the super cleaning and all that kind of stuff. It was $4.54 a gallon. And I just about fainted. And I thought to myself, think about all the masses and people living check to check that are one check away from being homeless. That when you see these food, and I've done, as you know, many, and so have you. I've sponsored many at churches, and I've sponsored some with Representative, well, first of all, Senator Miles, Boris Miles, of course. I've done it with Christina Morales, all these sorts of things. And when you see people in line in their cars for free food for 3-4 hours, you know they're hurting. That's not just, people that don't want to work or all this, what naysayers say that are really insensitive. That's people hurting out there. Representative Reynolds, I'm going to give you the last word on this topic here. What do you got for me about just the whole thing about minimum wage and everything else? And tell me, and I know we have a lot of people that are on hold. I saw Arlette was there. I saw Natalia was there. I'm trying to get them all in. We are going to get them in. If you go back, Representative Reynolds, I know you're supporting Al Green. Why don't you just summarize, why are you supporting Green?
Well, Gilbert, I'm going to be brief. I could talk for a whole show about why I'm supporting
Yep,
Congressman Green.
I got that.
But I'll tell you very succinctly, because during these tough times, we've seen the U.S. Supreme Court strike down the Voting Rights Act, a key provision of it. We see now Texas and many other states that are trampling upon minorities, particularly black and brown communities' ability to elect a candidate of their choice. We see President Trump ending diversity, equity, and inclusion, trampled upon Muslims and women. We need a fighter during these tough, unprecedented times like Congressman Al Green, who has the experience, who is in leadership, who is really, once the Democrats get the majority, can be a committee chair that has subpoena power to hold President Trump accountable in his final 2 years of office, who may try to extend his time in office. We know that he will do anything, as he led the insurrection on January 6th. So I know that during these tough, unprecedented times, we need a leader that's unbought, unbossed, that's willing to go toe-to-toe, speak your truth to power, doing the things that other congressmen are afraid to do, but the American people are so desirous of. Fight, fight, fight. President Trump needs someone who is not beholden to special interest group, the crypto industry, nor lobbyists. He needs someone who is independent thinking, that has a voice and is willing to take it to the mat. That is Congressman Al Green. Our district needs that. And finally, I'll say this. When we did redistricting, President Trump singled out Congressman Green because he wanted to eliminate that voice that has been an obstruction to him and his MAGA extreme agenda. That's why we need Congressman Green. We need him now more than ever. I hope that people will vote starting next Monday, 1 week from today, May the 18th, early voting starts. And May 26th is Election Day. This is a short window. There's only 1 week of early voting. There's no weekend voting. And Election Day is the day after Memorial Day. So please go join me at the polls on Monday, the first day of early voting, to cast a vote for someone who is proven fighter, that is unbought, that is not going to sell us out when people think that no one's watching. He's going to be the one that stands in the way of Trump, continue to trample upon our community. So thank you, Gilbert, for allowing me to share that. And Christina Morales, one of your other favorite state representatives, is on board. Congressman Green has been a true uniter of the black and brown community. He's worked relentless with people like Johnny Mata and LULAC and other organizations, the NAACP. So we need him right now more than ever.
Amen. Representative Reynolds, thank you for calling in. You're a true hero.
Sir.
Thank you, my
All right,
friend.
bye-bye.
I know there was a Natalia on the line. There's also Arlette on the line. Is Arlette still there? Arlette, are you there? Arlette.
Yes.
You got me, Gilbert Garcia, with a tip from me. I'm with Representative Congressman Al Green. What do you got for us?
Well, first of all, I want to say happy birthday.
For those of you who don't know, I don't think I can do it here on the camera, but there's all kinds of sweet bread and all kinds of tacos, all kinds of swag that people brought for me, my producers, other supporters. I mean, the Barrio Boys are in the house. I mean, my goodness. Taqueria Laredo's here. I say Taqueria Laredo, Laredo Taqueria, tomato. It's all good. They're all here. Ernie's here. Everybody's here. Isidro of Lula Council, Johnny Mata's Council. They're all here. Jumpin' Jess, and everybody knows they're all here. Ernie, you got it. And so they got everything here for me. So thank you for that. It's May 14th is my birthday. And but thank you for saying that. What do you got for us today?
Well, I also wanted to thank you for being a sponsor for our event center for the World Cup, because it's a new center, as you know. It started off in November 15 of 25 with a balloon museum, which came from Italy, and it was a beautiful exhibit for children and families as well as adults. It was just it had that wow factor, and that ended on the 30th of April, and then we had a boxing fight, which I'll talk about in a little bit. But the sponsorship was for an event. We're having a viewing event. The event center is at 2501 Commerce Street, and it is 60,000 square feet, and it's going to be a big viewing party, a big party, and it's going to have a lot for children, because, as you know, the World Cup to actually attend is incredibly expensive, and everyone wants to be included. And this venue and this event, we're going to have soccer and golf event, and different fun things for the kids. And then, of course, we'll have the viewing parties, and kind of also an evening type of forum for watching the World Cup in the evening. But I wanted to thank you for that.
Well, you're welcome. You know what? I want to have you on my show as a guest, because
Thank
FIFA
you.
is such a big deal. It is such a big deal for
deal.
America, such a great deal for Houston. I've had Chris Canetti on, and I'd like to have you on so we can talk about all the things that are going to be going on during the World Cup there at your venue. Now, just to be clear, on the balloon event, I'm embarrassed to say I didn't know about it. How do people get on your mailing list, or how do we know about all the events? Do you have something to sign up?
Well, we are.
Say it again. Say it again.
I said we're actually doing the website kind of as we speak.
Okay.
We started off, the balloon people came to us in around June of last year and said, we would like to open November 15, and so we were busy doing plans, getting them approved, getting it built. And so, you know, first I said, well, we're not really ready yet.
So I understand when opportunity knocks, you got to open the door. Well, you know what? I'm going to have you on.
Opened with a bang.
Yeah, I'm going to have you on because I want to go through it all. So I'm going to, if you don't mind, call me or call my producer here.
I definitely will.
And let's do something in June, because this is something that you as a investor are invested in the community, and you created this facility. Is that what this is?
Yes, and we're creating a lot of jobs, because right next to it, we're building a hotel.
Oh, how great!
It's going to have a restaurant on the roof and a pool on the roof, and between the hotel and the event center, it's going to be a little bit of a heart of the East End for events. And we really want to have all these different types of events, from art exhibits that are international to local quinceañeras and boxing matches.
Give me a quick visual. So how far are we from the soccer stadium?
500 feet.
Oh my God! There you go.
And you know, unlike the Fun Fest, we have air conditioning, we have tables, we have indoor bathrooms, and in June and July, I think it's going to make a difference. You know, come on in and be in the air conditioning and have food and have fun, and it's affordable.
Is there a admission fee or something like that, or I mean, how do you get in?
There is an admission fee. We'll have a sign in on the website, and but I'll tell you more when you have me on the show.
Let's do it. I want to
We'll
have
have
you on
all
the
that.
show. Thank you for calling in. That
I
means.
want to I
Go
want
ahead.
to say hello to Congressman Green.
Oh, great.
Hello.
Go
It's
for
always
it.
a
Say,
pleasure.
Good to hear your voice, and I appreciate what you're doing because this is going to be a major event in the city of Houston.
oh, yes.
In fact,
It isn't, and everyone should be, participating in the fun and the hoopla of the event.
exactly.
And,
Yes,
and no one should be excluded.
I
and
absolutely
so,
agree.
Amen to that. I'm going to have you back. I'm going to have you
Okay.
on. So thank you for calling in. I'm going to take one more
And thank
caller,
you.
and then I'm going to
Okay.
surprise Congressman Green with something here. Is there a Natalia there? Natalia. Natalia, can you hear me? Natalia.
Yes, I
Ah,
can hear
you got me, Gilbert Garcia, the tip for me with Congressman Al Green. What do you got for me or for the congressman?
Congressman Green. So you've represented Houston for over 20 years, and I just want to ask, what's changed the most in the community during your time in Congress?
Well, the community, if you're talking about the people in the community, I think that we have been able to have what I call a symbiosis take place, where we have unity without uniformity. There's a realization in Houston that you can be in this country, be yourself, have your culture, have your language, have your all of the things akin to culture, dance and food, and make America the beautiful, a more beautiful America. So we have a greater acceptance that I've noticed in the city of Houston. In terms of things that we've done with dollars, the rail line was not here, and that is something that has become more important as we continue to grow as a city and more people are getting out of their cars. We have widened and deepened the ship channel since I've been in Congress, and that's been important so that we can bring in larger vessels. We have brought in the airlines to 2 airports such that Hobby Airport is not just a small outside of the mainstream airport. It is a serious mainstream airport. Southwest Airlines is out of there, and they're traversing not only in this country but across borders. But probably of all of these things that have taken place, I think that what happened with the Voting Rights Act has really made the difference, because when I first entered Congress, we didn't have the Honorable Sylvia Garcia in Congress. Gene Green was a great congressperson. I'm not demeaning him, but Sylvia Garcia brings another vision to Congress. She is always concerned about whether or not language is going to be appropriate on these contracts that people have to sign. She's just concerned about people who are being removed from the country without having had proper representation and being removed, quite frankly, some of them illegally. So she's very much concerned, and we didn't have that. And I've seen her come to Congress. We, of course, had, when I came in, it was the 9th Congressional District was not a district that was represented by an African American. So I became the first African American to represent the 9th Congressional District. So we've had political changes as well, and then with the mayors, Sylvester Turner.
Yep.
So lots of change has taken place.
I'm going to cut you off real quick. Natalia, I'm going to cut you off too, but thank you for calling in. And please call in again, because I can't believe it's already been an hour.
Well,
And the show's over. But I've got to play this clip for you. So let's play this clip. This was the debate, which was last week on Fox. Thank you, Fox, for airing the debate. Everyone should be airing this debate. This is important. We should all be seeing what the issues are, no matter who you're for. Do vote. That's what's important. And I just wish all the TV would give it the importance that it deserves. Let's see what this is.
Mr. Menifee says he's a fighter. Well, let me just show you the fighter Mr. Menifee is. This is what he says about himself. Is this the fighter you want? This is a caricature. This is a fake fighter. It's one thing to go into a courtroom and make arguments. It's another thing to confront the President of the United States as I have. I'm the real fighter. This is a fake fighter.
There you have it. And you know what? What was missing from that clip was then the next thing you talked about that we're not going to be able to get it on, but show the other one if you don't mind. There you go. I thought this was quite revealing because you showed this during the debate. Just describe to us. Can we get that? I probably need to be. Let me see here. Maybe I got to go like that. Just describe to us.
You're taking yourself off your program.
That's okay. That's okay because this is what it's about.
Well, this was at the joint session of Congress when the president was indicating that he had a mandate, and I was reminding him that he didn't have a mandate to cut Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. And sure enough, they took $1 trillion out of health care. And I was at the part of the avant-garde to say to the nation that we've got to fight this, and I still fight this. And this is what we've been talking about today. This is confronting the president as opposed to simply talking about the president from some distant place. And this is why the president is not enthralled with a lot of what I do.
This is courage right here. I'm telling you, this is courage. And you know what? There's my favorite show when I was young. And I know I look, I know I look young and this, that, but at the end of the day, I remember Carol Burnett. I used to love that show. This is at the end of the show.
No.
Remember how wonderful
Yes.
that show was?
Carol Burnett is still on.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I watch it quite regularly, believe it or not. I enjoy it.
And she says, and before you know, time to say so long. Here we go.
Comes the time we have to say so long.
So long.
And happy birthday.
Thank you very much. Houston, Harris County is my birthday. I think Frenchie's brought me some chicken, or somebody did. Jumping Jess. I want to get the Frenchie's people on my show because I love their chicken. And then all my friends that have the Barrio Boys, get them up for those guys. They're everywhere. They do me so many great things. Jumping Jess, Isidro, Didi Salas, of course, Ernie, everybody, my producers, Congressman Al Green. This is Gilbert Garcia saying, you know what, these are tough times, but there are great times yet ahead. The best times are yet ahead. Yes. Please, no matter who you vote for, please vote. This is Gilbert Garcia with a tip from me saying, we'll see you next time. All right, Houston, Harris County, this is Gilbert Garcia of A Tip from Gilbert, Talk, Inspiration, and Prayer. Watch and hear my show on YouTube, Facebook, RSS, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. And follow me on social media. See you then.